My name is Tommy Hires, and I'm the director of the Casey Foundation Civic Site here in Baltimore. And it is my pleasure to welcome you all to Eager Park. Last Saturday, we had a very small but mighty team from Casey who joined more than 300 volunteers to take this blank canvas of blacktop and in 6 hours transform it to bring to life ideas that were dreamed up by young people in this community a few short months ago. It was, in one word, remarkable. Seeing the project evolve from dream to design to action, all pulled together by a group of very diverse leaders, some of whom you'll meet during the course of the day. And for me, it was a bit of a homecoming. Right across that street is the original Elmer A. Henderson Elementary School, 101. And in 1984, I was a third grader there. Yeah. And this community has changed quite a bit, creating a space for a healthy environment for people to not simply live and work, but to also play. So we had a surprise guest on Saturday who stopped by to offer some words of encouragement and to spend some time with our volunteers, and she's here today to bring greetings. It's my pleasure to introduce the Honorable Catherine Pugh, Mayor of Baltimore.
Thank you, Tommy. It really was an honor to join the over 300 volunteers. I actually came toward the end, so I didn't have to lift up any shovels. But I've been involved with a Kaboom building a playground, so I know what tedious work goes into doing that, and I want to say thank you for that. Tommy, thank you so much for the introduction. We're right here in East Baltimore, and I wanted to acknowledge our Councilman Stokes for being here. I understand Thomas Branch is supposed to be here at some point, but it's so great to be here. It's great to be back here, and I'd also like to acknowledge my president of Morgan State University, my alma mater, former cheerleader, Dr. Wilson. Dr. David Wilson is here. Every chance I get to tell people that I was a cheerleader at Morgan, and I'm the greatest cheerleader this city's ever going to have. I had great experience. So I see where's my housing commissioner? Is he here?
Not yet.
Okay, well, he'll be here at some point. He might be out on the dance floor. We saw him the other night. I actually took a video, and I'm sending it around to people, of Michael Braverman dancing at Associated Black Charities. I got it. I'll show it to you. He asked me in cabinet meeting the other day, are you the one that's sending that video all around? Absolutely, I am. So we're here because this is a great step forward for this community. I mean, so many great things are happening here. If you look at the investment that Hopkins has made, and now the Annie E. Casey Foundation, the UPS Foundation, and the Rouse Company, thank you so much for your work and your commitment to the East Baltimore Development Corporation and the new East Baltimore Development Association. Thank you all for working together on behalf of the people who live in this community. And most importantly, thank you for your big hands for the volunteers. And I can tell you, if you saw them work with such enthusiasm on Saturday, you'd really get a great appreciation of all that went into doing this. As mayor, this is really one of the best parts of my job, to officially open a new place for young people to exercise, enjoy themselves outdoors. But let's not limit that to young people, because I need some older folks to be jumping rope, to be exercising out here as well. We create these opportunities for our children, and it also helps to make our neighborhoods better, safer, and stronger. Let me just tell you, the transformation that is taking place in this area is so important, because this is part of what you see when you look out of the window of the train station. So to change that view is a really good thing. And so what I love to see, and I one time, during the period of time when I was running for office, someone asked me, what do you envision? And my vision began from looking out of the window of a train going past Baltimore. And I said, when I close my eyes, I see seniors walking around in senior living communities. I see neighbors walking out of their doors and being able to go to green space and play with children. I see playgrounds, and I see the opportunity for people to think creatively in a community and a neighborhood that they can call their own. This is a part of that. So today, to Kaboom and all these community partners, you're really showing us how this can be done. More importantly, the naming of this playground for a great gentleman, Mr. Cal Tyler. We're honoring the life and legacy of one of our native sons who continues to give back, and for that we are grateful. Cal Tyler grew up right here in West Baltimore. He went to City College, and he attended my alma mater, Morgan State, beginning his career as one of the first UPS drivers in the city. And I hope there's some young people around here. If not, you all need to tell this story. Because one of the things that we don't do is tell the story of our people in a very positive way. So Cal Tyler spent the next 34 years working hard, showing up to work every day on time. You know, they say on time means that you really get there early, and climbed the ranks of the company until he became Senior Vice President of Operations. I think that deserves a real round of applause. That kind of dedication he shows the kind of dedication that you must show in order to accomplish your objectives and your dreams. And so as many of the young people get to play in this playground, and the adults as well, and the seniors walk around, the stories that we have to continue to tell them is about the greatness of our people and what they can do, what they can become with hard work. I passed a young man as I was walking over here, and I said, "What are you doing this summer?" He just shook his head. I said, "Are you going to play on the playground?" He went, I said, "Are you going to do any work? Are you working or anything?" I said, "Well, what are you going to do?" You know what he said? "I'm going to be reading. I'm going to be reading." And I thought, what a great place to, sit down and read a book. And so I asked him how many books he was going to read. He said, "I'm going to be reading 5 books a day." And I'm very ambitious. We like that. So, whatever we can do to inspire our young people, I'm always grateful. And to Cal Tyler, you have inspired generations and generations of young people, and we want to show this today by naming this playground after you. Thank you for helping us to make Baltimore a better place, a safer place, and a stronger place. And it's stronger because of all of the partnerships that we continue to have in this city. And that's why I'm so grateful for all that we do. And let me acknowledge our City Councilwoman Sneed and her young child that she has with her. Thank you for joining us. She is one of 8 new individuals who came to our City Council, but she's the only female. So we're grateful for all the work that our young people do. But we're grateful for our councilmen as well, men as well, because so much doesn't happen without you all, and we really do appreciate that. Again, thank you to all of our partners. We are really grateful, and I am excited for you, Mr. Tyler, and your family. Thank you. I was so excited. I always get excited when I see Councilwoman Sneed with her little one, but I'd be remiss if I didn't invite you to come up, Mr. Tyler. And your family can join us as well. Come on up, you all.
It's my son.
Let me just say, on behalf of the City of Baltimore, this is a certificate in recognition. On behalf of the citizens of Baltimore, I am pleased to present this certificate to you, Mr. Tyler, in recognition of the dedication of the Cal Tyler Playground in Eager Park. By investing your time, your expertise, and your generous philanthropy, you have demonstrated your commitment to our communities and our young people. On behalf of the citizens of Baltimore, the Baltimore City Council, I commend you for your contributions to our great city. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's my pleasure to introduce Ray Skinner, the CEO of the East Baltimore Development Corporation.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank Mayor Pugh. Thank you for your partnership. Thank you for your unwavering support of EBDI, as well as East Baltimore. So we really appreciate all that you do for us. So let me say good afternoon on behalf of the Board of Directors and the staff of EBDI. We have several staff members here from EBDI. Just wave your hands. Yeah. You can give them a hand. They deserve it. So for those of you who are not familiar with EBDI, EBDI is a not-for-profit community development corporation that was organized in 2004 to manage and facilitate the redevelopment of about an 88 acre tract of land, which we're standing in part of, here in the heart of East Baltimore. Eager Park, also where we're standing, is a 3-block long, 5-acre urban, I like to call it an urban oasis. It's really the centerpiece of our redevelopment project, which now includes over 400 new or rehabilitated housing units, over 600,000 square feet of office and laboratory space. We have new retail facilities like Starbucks, Walgreens, Atwaters, a Harbor Bank branch. We have a new community school, the Henderson Hopkins School, and the new Marriott Residence Inn Hotel, which is coming up right behind you. In front of me, I'm pointing there. That Marriott Residence Inn will be opening in October. But none of that development that I just mentioned is more important than this facility that we are celebrating here today. A state-of-the-art playground where kids from the neighborhood can be kids and have fun and play in a really safe and nurturing environment. So I want to thank our funders, the Annie E. Casey Foundation, the UPS Foundation, the Rouse Company Foundation. Without their support, this would not be possible. But I especially want to thank the children of East Baltimore. And as Tommy said, the kids got together and they actually helped design the playground. They put down their vision, and then Kaboom helped us to put that vision into action. So I was one of 300 plus volunteers out here on Saturday, working under Kaboom's leadership to actually build this facility that you see. And my body still aches from hauling around wheelbarrows full of cement. But the result that you see was really worth it, and I'm just glad I was able to participate. So in closing, let me just say that I'm truly delighted to be here today and to be part of this ceremony. And Mr. Tyler, I want to congratulate you for your stellar career at UPS, and to thank you for all that you've done for the East Baltimore community. Thank you.
So 6 hours is all the time that it took for the volunteers to transform a blank slate to what you see behind us. And I'm among one of the people who was kind of skeptical as to whether or not we could pull it off, but Kaboom is a well-oiled machine. They had leaders who knew their roles, but also what we were supposed to do, and it was a fantastic experience. And it's my pleasure to introduce James Siegel, CEO of Kaboom.
Thanks so much, Tommy, and I can attest to how hard Tommy and John and Councilman Stokes and Mayor Pugh worked on Saturday. Yeah. Ask me later. I also want to add my thanks to our terrific partners, EBDI and the Forest City New East Baltimore, and our funding partners, the Casey Foundation, the UPS Foundation, and Rouse Company Foundation. As Tommy mentioned, when we showed up on site, this was an empty lot. But what we demonstrated was when people come together from all walks of life in common purpose and put kids first, amazing things happen. And what you see before you is the fruits of our collective labor. This is the 2,936th playground that Kaboom has built all across the country in communities that need more great places to play. And Baltimore is special to us at Kaboom. I can say that in the last 2 years, we've built more playgrounds in Baltimore than we did in our first 18 years as an organization, and we hope to keep that pace up. And this particular playground is special. As you can see, there's some innovative elements to it. But what's really special is that I don't need it. The community, the community came together and built the playground. And what that demonstrates to the kids of this community is that they are loved, valued, and protected. And there's nothing more important, and I cannot think of a more fitting tribute to Cal Tyler than that, someone who's given so much to the next generation of Baltimore, and they are going to have endless hours of joy, and even more, they're going to be able to thrive because they see that people believe in them. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, James. So James mentioned something that was really important, and that's the involvement of community. At every step of the design and implementation process, the leaders and residents from this community were actively engaged. More importantly, they were present and they owned this place. That is clearly demonstrated in the husband and wife duo of Gabe Mora and May Mendoza. They got enough food to feed 250 volunteers. We had 341. So somehow they hustled and even went to their own homes to get ice out of their freezers to make sure the water stayed cold and that there was food for the volunteers. It's my pleasure to introduce Gabe and May, who's chasing a baby, to share with us.
I'll start. My first public speaking, so thank you and good afternoon. I would like to thank everyone for this beautiful project. The reason I moved here from the county was the fact that my pastor has been preaching over the years that we need to do more for the city and with all that has been going on. This made me think that the only real way I could help is by actually moving to the city. And not by moving to Roland Park, etc., but moving to an area in distress. It took us a few years to decide, and the Hopkins Live Near Your Work and the city's Vacants to Value and CHOPS programs were a huge factor in helping us make that move. It was September 2015, 2 weeks before our third child was born, that we called Baltimore City our home. All of our friends thought we were crazy, as there were only 3 people living on our block, and everywhere you could see boarded up houses and construction sites. We got to know our neighbors, Donald and Lisa, who our kids adore, and learned the history of Middle East, now called Eager Park. We know over time it is a sound investment, as we saw the vision for Eager Park, and as more developers started building it, it became more and more promising to invest in. But also, as a family, we knew we had to be involved in the community to keep it safer and stronger, because this is where our kids will grow up, make friends, start traditions, and lifetime memories. Since then, more families have moved in, and as a parent that homeschooled my kids, I did not see opportunities and programs available within walking distance for them. We have to drive 15 to 20 minutes to Federal Hill or for a STEM program, or to White Marsh for a public speaking program, and so forth. It dawned on us that we have the physical structures available: a school, a park, a hospital, buildings full of work, opportunities, and the human factor, our community. We just needed to put all those together. That got us to organizing and advocating for our kids' future, because at the end of the day, all of us desire the same things: to be safe, to be loved, to have the same opportunities for advancement, and make our lives better.
And I always say it starts with our kids, you know, as the saying goes, train up a child in the way they should go, so that when they grow old, they won't depart from it. So hopefully it can start with this playground where our kids can be kids, their innocence can just like show, because at that point they don't know color, they don't know material possession, they're just there to play, as you can see. Yes, it's not a toy. And at that point, we want them to enjoy life. We want them to have that creativity to just think what they can do, where their inner geniuses can get sparked, you know. And that's what I wish for this place, and that's why we moved here. We want to see programs in this area, programs that will give kids the opportunity to make it better for themselves, programs that would mold them and value good behavior, positive behavior, programs that would foster self-reliance, programs that would give them to be resilient when things go wrong in their lives. So, and I really hope that a place like the playground or the school with Henderson Hopkins or a community rec center, which this community badly needs, where these kids, programs for adults, for kids, for elderly, can all be incorporated. So I urge you, as our partners, we live in this community, we have good visions. I see the people in this community, they have the heart, they want to make this area better. So continue to invest in this area, continue to invest in our kids, because you know what, it takes a village to raise a kid, and we need to look out for each other. And what I say is, if we don't invest for our kids, we're not investing on our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabe. Thank you, May. It's my pleasure to introduce Mike Eskew, Chair of the Casey Foundation's Board of Trustees.
Thank you. Cal Tyler, UPSer, Andy Casey trustee, and son of Baltimore. I met Cal in the summer of 1982. I'd known Cal before only through what others had told me about him. And I was working in Baltimore at the time, so I had heard a lot about Cal. People told me Cal was smart. They told me he was a good businessman. They told me he worked hard, he was results-oriented, and a firm believer that all work and results must be judged by measurement. They also said Cal was fair. He was a true gentleman, and most importantly, a true UPSer. I noted then that I'd never heard a bad word said about Cal. And now, 35 years later, I still haven't heard a bad word said about Cal. So when I finally went to work for Cal in that summer of 1982, I found out he was much more. He's a true, natural leader. He led not in a stand-up-and-shout kind of way, but in a modest, unassuming style that drew others to him. With Cal, you knew what was important and what wasn't. He didn't have to say, but you could tell what he paid attention to and what he didn't bother with. With Cal, people mattered, customers mattered, communities mattered, and our company mattered, and everybody knew it. What didn't matter was being a big shot. Even though Cal was one of the most senior managers of UPS and had just been promoted to manage our Northwest region, he was still the same Cal that grew up and started as that driver here in Baltimore. He drove to work in that pale old blue Japanese import that looked like he washed it every night. His office was as neat and efficient, but he had no personal awards on the walls and no pictures of him with celebrities. That wouldn't be Cal. When it came time to move into our permanent offices in that region office, one of our alternatives that the real estate people brought us was a high-rise in a multi-story modern-looking building. Cal said, nope, that's not for us. And I said, Cal, what's the matter with, we were both new to San Francisco. And I said, are you nervous about high-rise buildings and earthquakes? And he said, no. He was concerned about being perceived as working in an ivory tower. Didn't want to work in an ivory tower. And with Cal, when Cal returned from his first management conference that he went to as a region manager, I asked Cal how the conference was and how was the trip all the way to the East Coast. Cal said the conference was great, but that was a long trip to fly in economy first class, economy coach, all the way there and back. Cal was senior. He was high seniority. He was a high-ranking manager. It was a long trip. He could have asked the company for a first-class ticket. That wouldn't have been Cal. When I became CEO of UPS, I would always request coach seats. People would ask why I did that. I never said, but I had been taught, without being told, what was really important. Finally, on the Casey Foundation, when Doug Nelson retired and it came time to choose the successor, we spent a lot of time. We spent conferences and we went through that whole process, and then we finally made the best selection and chose Patrick. I called for a short meeting, a short pause before the end of the meeting. I was going to bring Patrick in and say, Patrick, the job is yours. And then you want to talk about it for a minute. Then we were going to adjourn the meeting. So I said, let's take a break. As we stepped out, Cal said to me, Mike, do you have a minute? He told me his plan was to help the board select the best leader for the future. And we did that. And then he said he would like to quietly step off the board. He felt that this should be his final meeting, and he went on to say that I don't want to detract from Patrick's celebration, so I'd like to leave without fanfare, without announcement, without any kind of comment. Well, I was chairman of the Casey Foundation, and I was the former CEO and chairman of UPS. But Cal would always be my boss. So I answered, Cal, whatever you want. All teaching moments from Cal. Cal never said directly, but he taught us to take our families, our jobs, our community seriously, but never ourselves. And through that taught us they were all part of something bigger than ourselves. When the Andy E. Casey Foundation trustees first were told of this 88-acre sites here in East Baltimore, adjacent to Johns Hopkins hospitals, we were told it was a piece of land in poor condition with many vacant row houses, most with harmful lead paint. The neighborhood had few resources, and many of the residents felt hopeless. The plan was to bring in biotech facilities around the hospitals, to add stores and other commercial activities, and to rebuild modern housing. Cal was familiar with this piece of geography from his youth. He said he used to live on one side, Tina was on the other side, and they would cross, and he would cross from time to time, probably often. He was adamant that this project had to be more than just improved land, gentrification, and commercial development. Cal said that it also had to be about the people that lived here, those that made a home here. To win our support, Cal said, this has to be a healthy neighborhood for families of all incomes and all ages. It had to be a neighborhood where residents could raise families, send their kids to school, and where kids could play and learn and thrive. Perhaps that was the original intent of the East Baltimore Development Group. It probably was, but Cal put our stamp on it with those comments. He was the conscience of the Board of Trustees. Cal's strength of character reminded us all, no matter what neighborhood we came from, what our parents did, what gods we prayed to, our race, or from what countries our ancestors came from, that we were all alike. And we all had so much in common. I just hope that when future generations of UPSers come to see this Cal Tyler playground, the only ivory tower that Cal Tyler ever wanted, they will know that this fair gentleman of character made our company a better company. And those associated with the Annie E. Casey Foundation know that the mission and the dreams of our founder, Jim Casey, live on because of Cal Tyler. And I know that all of us here today would know, as we listen to the kids that play on this playground, what that son of Baltimore taught us, that people and neighborhoods matter, and we're all part of something bigger than ourselves. Cal, I can't speak, the mayor spoke for your hometown, but for the UPSers that are here and the folks from Annie E. Casey, we're just honored to be with you today. So here's to Cal. And Cal, if you'd like to come up and say a word or two.
Thank you. Get some water. Wow. Wow. Thanks, Mike. You know, Mike said that I've known Mike for a long time. He said he hadn't ever heard a bad word about me in 35 years. And Tina, my wife, leaned over and said, have him give me a call. I want to thank everybody, the City of Baltimore, Annie Casey, UPS, Johns Hopkins, everyone that brought this park together. I am really shocked when Patrick called me about 2 months ago and told me what the plans were. I said, Patrick, that sounds like something they do for dead people. They do know I'm still alive, right? And Patrick said, yeah, they know. I also, you know, I live on the West Coast, so I don't get back to Baltimore as often as I'd like, but I've always loved this city as my hometown. It's where I'm from, and Baltimore has always been a part of me. Well, I played golf with one of my buddies in Las Vegas, and I told him about the plans for this park. And he told me, Cal, I think you should know that 20 to 30 years from now, there are going to be little kids playing in this playground, and they're going to see your name, and they're going to say, what team did he play for? Well, as everybody at UPS, Tina, and my son knows, I never played for any team. But I did have a team of great people who helped get me here. And if I might, I'd like to just spend a couple minutes thanking that team of great people. First of all, when I was riding around the city, it came back to me growing up on these same streets and going to Baltimore City public schools and going to Morgan State University. And I had a lot of teachers over those years in school who saw something in me, encouraged me to excel in academics, and without their support and their guidance, I don't think I could ever be here today. And I want to thank, most of those teachers will go unnamed, but they were special to me, and I appreciate it. I also want to thank the UPS and the Casey people that are here. I spent 34 years with UPS and 20 years with the Casey Foundation. And if I spent or took time to review all the lessons I learned at UPS and Casey, we would be here for a long time. But the one thing that I remember most that I learned from both organizations is that whatever you're doing in life, whatever you're trying to accomplish, focus on results. Not good intentions, not dreams and hopes. Focus on results. And both those organizations do a great job of that, and I know they will continue. I also, Tina and I moved 10 times all over the U.S. And when you're taken away from your hometown and your family, you start to appreciate good friends. We made a lot of good friends all over the country. And we have friends who have remained friends with us despite the many miles that separate us. There's Vivian, who's here. Vivian Stansel and Cheryl, good friends of ours. And a lot of other friends who aren't here, but I really appreciate you guys being friends. And I also want to thank my family. First of all, my mom and dad. They're both passed away. But
Sir, it's okay.
I know they would be very honored and proud of this moment. I want to thank my brothers. I have 2 younger brothers for putting up with me. One of them's here, Robert. Where is he? There's Robert, my younger brother. I want to thank my son Kevin, who flew all the way in from California to be with us. Kevin. And finally, I want to thank the big boss. She probably won't say anything, but but she knows, and I know, that without her, I would not be here today. And that's my wife, Tina. So again, thank you all. This is a tremendous, tremendous honor. I don't believe that I deserve something like this, but thank you very much.
Before we move over to cut the ceremonial ribbon, Elizabeth Mora, come over, made presents for, and I need to fix the mayors because I popped the chain.
Oh, thank you. That's beautiful.
So, as you all can see, we have a ribbon and an incredibly large pair of scissors for ceremonial cutting. So, Mr. Tyler, if you wouldn't mind joining us.
3, 2, 1.